Let's look at the variables here on the Advanced Plan Repay tab. It's an opportunity for you to model a variety of repayment strategies to help your client with their exit strategy. We mentioned up in the top of your time frame is your time frame. That's how long do you expect and how long do you want to model this particular scenario. You can use any time frame that makes sense to you. It could be something from as short as 0 years, which is going to give you basically a starting point as a blank chart. You can go out 1 year, and that's going to compare just that first year. You can see where the items are being paid down or savings is actually increasing. I recommend you pick a time frame that meets the needs of your client, but that also encompasses both strategies. So for example, if they have a 30-year fixed now and that's their current liability, and I'm going to propose a 15-year fixed or a 30-year fixed with a pre-payment schedule, I want to make sure that I'm going to, in both charts, show the full term. So I like to use something like a 30-year time frame. I could use a 15-year time frame, and then in the lower graph, it's going to show the 15-year paid off, and you can then kind of use it this way to say, hey, in the proposed scenario below, you're paid off. But look here, if you go with the 15-year, you've only gotten to right here in terms of paying off your debt so far. So you can use these in a variety of different ways. I'm going to collapse the spend, save, repay for right now and just focus on this variable here. The after-tax savings rate, that's the rate of growth on any cash or cash equivalents. You can leave that to 0, which means it'll function like cash in a checking account or cash in a jar. It's not going to grow. The savings won't grow, and the excess money you have will not grow at all. I typically recommend that you have something in here so that you're doing a fair kind of analysis, and I can use a slider, or if I've got a financial advisor, I've talked to the client and they said we would expect our after-tax savings rate to be at least 6%. And again, think about it in terms of the time frame over 15 years. If your time frame was 2 years, you might want to use 0% or 1% because it's going to go in a checking account. But over 15 years, do you think your money could earn 5%, 4%, 6%? And remember, this says after-tax savings rate. Now, you want to use the rate that's appropriate. This is my toggle here for after-tax or pre-tax. If I switch this to pre-tax, then all of the analysis for repaying the debt as well as any savings growth, etc., will all be done on a pre-tax basis. So that would mean I would want to put 6% here on a pre-tax basis versus 6% on an after-tax basis. So, just choose between pre-tax and after-tax. I tend to match that to whatever I was using on the borrow tab. So if I was using a pre-tax analysis for the borrowing, I would use pre-tax for the repaying. If I was using after-tax for the borrowing, I'd want to use after-tax for the repayment strategy. Now, you'll notice if I just go with, say, let's go back to, say, a 30-year time frame so I can see the entire 30 years. This is your current liabilities, always in the blue. So I can see here all their current liabilities, auto, credit card, mortgage, and total liabilities. The black line is all liabilities. These lines show me that the auto and the credit card are paying off in 5 to 6 years. The total liabilities are being paid off in 30 years. And it tells me here that I'm potentially debt-free in 29 years, 3 months based on my current strategy that I have today. Now, if I were to start to modify the strategy, there's 2 ways I can do that. I can use the spend, save, repay, and plan options, which I'll do those in a second, or I can use these pre-created strategies up here. And depending on when you're watching this video, there could be more. Right now we have normal payment, and with normal payment, it just means that you're going to pay this normally unless you choose to add some additional money to spend, save, or repay to accelerate those current liabilities. If I pick a strategy up here, for example, say biweekly, then it's going to automatically convert and assume that I'm going to pay this current liability on a biweekly basis, and it immediately recalculates that I would be debt-free in 24 years, 0 months, and it shows me the impact of that debt strategy paying off in 24 years. It also shows me the net payment detail, and that stuff is changing as well. So I can see how much I'd spend over this 24 years to get debt-free. And I can start to look at some of the different options and compare them side by side, which I'll do that in a future video. For now, this is just a window video on the variables and how they impact, for example, the current liabilities. Now, if I go back to normal, you'll notice again that it's going to go back to a normal payment structure, and it's going to look at how much I'm going to pay. So I can see a difference there. It was $497 with the biweekly. Here it's $536. So I can already see that there's a difference there in terms of the overall payment impact. And there are other strategies, and these strategies are addressed more directly in other materials, but snowball lowest balance first, snowball highest balance first. So if I click snowball lowest balance first, it's going to assume that as each liability is paid off, that the cash flow from that liability is going to be applied towards the next lowest balance. So in this case, once the credit cards are paid off, because it's going to be paid off first, that monthly payment would get applied towards auto. Once the auto is paid off, then the credit card and the auto payment would be applied towards the mortgage. That would show that the client could be completely debt-free in 18 years, 1 month. And you can see again the net cost here has dropped substantially down to about $342. And again, you can see the time frame difference here. We've gone from 30 years to 18 years in 1 month. So these are just strategies, and I can go through and use whichever one's appropriate for my client, and the software will automatically recalculate all of your repayment strategies based on this. So these variables here are being applied towards all of your strategies. So they're all going to show 30 years, they're all going to be at a 6% after-tax savings rate, and they're all going to be looked at based on a snowball highest interest first. This allows you to compare apples to apples and see which of these strategies would pay off the best. Because once I get my current liabilities set up, I'm going to be comparing that to my proposed liabilities below to see which of these might make the most sense, which of these would be a better situation for my particular client. So in a future video, we'll look at the current liabilities repayment plan here and the dynamic of the spend, save, repay plan.